Hospital Emergency by Amanda Hoehne. Back when I was in second grade, I was around 8 years old. I had just woken up and it was around 6:30 in the morning. I never woke up that early when I was that age, so this was very strange for me. I walked into the kitchen and I noticed that my father was working in the bathroom. At this time, my parents were working on renovating their bathroom um, and adding some paint to it. Well, so my father was putting the painter's tape on the baseboard in the bathroom. And I walked into the bathroom behind him, and he didn't realize I was there. Since he was putting the tape on, he was using a putty knife. And he was kneeling on the ground, on his knees, and putting this painter's tape on. And, well, while he was doing that, he stuck the putty knife behind him into his pocket. And he did not know that I was behind him. So, as he stood up, I was standing right behind him, and this putty knife was right in his pocket. And it scratched me so bad, I started bleeding everywhere and freaking out. When my father realized what happened, he hurried up and he picked me up and he brought me into the kitchen so he could get a better look at my leg. From there, he decided that I was going to have to go to the hospital because the cut was very, very deep and long. So, in return, I was freaking out too. And my mom was still sleeping, so my dad had to go into their bedroom and wake her up. Well, of course, she started freaking out because I was hurt. And then they decided that I would have to go to the hospital. And I have two younger sisters, so someone was going to have to take me while the other person stayed home with my sisters. So my dad decided that he was going to take me to the hospital. Well, in the meantime, he got me a wet rag um, to put on my leg to stop it from bleeding. And then he carried me out and he put me in the car with that towel under my leg to cover up the cut. I remember my father driving super fast to the hospital because he didn't want me to keep losing blood. When we got to the hospital, my father dropped me off at the front door and then he went and parked the car. We finally checked in and the nurse brought me back to a room. After a little while, a doctor came in and they told us that they were going to have to put stitches in to close it up. The doctor put some gel type stuff around the cut to numb it a little bit, and then they put this huge needle in my leg to numb it even more, which this hurt really, really bad. Finally, they got my leg numbed and they started stitching it up. After the doctor was done stitching up my leg, I got a sucker and a coupon to my favorite place, Wendy's, to get a free Frosty. I was so happy to get that coupon because Frosties are my favorite. Then the nurse wrapped up my leg and we got to go home. The pain stayed for a while and I had to take medicine to keep the pain down. When I was at school, I couldn't do very much, especially at recess and gym class. After about 2 months, the cut healed up and I actually still have a scar from the cut on my leg. And this is my story about getting a cut and having to go to the hospital and get stitches.